So we're starting on the lower Peak Forest Canal. We're going to go through the rise locks and get to the upper Peak Forest Canal. I'm just going to show you some examples of the original canal that's in this area. So we've got some nice quiet time. You can hear a ambulance in the distance. Do you know what? Every time I seem to start recording, by coincidence, that happens. But it's a nice tranquil walk. So the introduction, well, I've done Peak Forest Canal before, part of Portland Basin and Ashton Canal. But as I say, I'll show you some of the original features. This whole wall probably as old as the canal, like 1700s. And still all here, even though we're near the centre of Manchester and the Manchester Ring Road. Just show you around this area. Start off slowly because we're gonna. The first bit of information I'll talk about, there's a coal mine in this area. And that's what's so lovely about this canal. It becomes more rural as you go along. Or is it? Maybe I fooled you. Manchester, UK, brief videos of time. Countryside, Pennine Moors, lovely sunset. But look! That's the M60 ring road, which is spoiling it all. So obviously that's gone right through without any care in the world for the countryside, beautiful sunsets, the churches around here, the riser locks. And we're heading up towards those riser locks. And I thought I'd just play a bit of a trick on you. So it's all concrete really. And down there obviously there's like a 200-year gap in the engineering. So let's jump back down. We're just going to get up to the top of the riser locks. Peak Forest, upper Peak Forest Canal and Macclesfield canals. So I'll pop back down, played a little bit of a trick. So next to us is the old stone wall, even older than that wall on the other bank. But you know that the motorway suddenly appears when you see a big concrete lump. So this is part of Manchester Ring Road, but originally it was its own separate motorway until it was all connected up. And you can tell this is 60s, I'd say, that concrete with stones in it. Walk out this tunnel and get some echo. So you might be catching a hint that I'm not in such a rural environment after all. The Hyde Colliery explosion, 18th of January 1889. There was a site up there. Here, I've jumped over the other side of the canal. Hyde Lane coal pit killed 23 men, 23 people, seriously injured 5 more victims. The inquest recorded that the explosion took place at some distance from a shaft, which was known as the 2-foot level, shortly after 2 AM. The verdict reported that the incident was accidental and was caused by the use of naked lights by the miners. Oh, it would have been pitch dark, so yeah, so it was on February 21st, 2001, this wharf area here was dedicated to the men who died in that tragedy. Well, bit of graffiti on the wall there, sometimes I do show that. I like some modern art, I see it as juxtaposed urban art. Anyway. So this is a culverted section and we know why, for the Manchester Ring Road. So the canal doesn't seem to have deviated too much from its original path, but this is a reconnection. So that side's concreted. So it probably follow pretty much the same direction as the motorway where them trees are. And then you'll find where it joins again. And we're going to follow up. We've got an overflow to see here. So when the canal reaches its full capacity with water, which is pretty rare, especially these days, as you might know, tend to have flash floods where this whole area would just flood, and then just everything's always too low most of the year. So down there, it's an overflow and it has water in it. It might even just power something like a wheel, but that means it suggests to me we're near the River Goyt. See, it's all concreted in, so it's probably been put here when the motorway's gone in, so it's a replacement of the original. Right. Once again, canal's mixed in with all this, but the canal was first, remember? Modern houses, modern roads, even pets like pussycats. All modern. But there's a necessity for an overflow here, so I suggest we're getting close to the locks. So that was it, the motorway culvert. This is part of the lower Peak Forest Canal. Manchester UK, brief videos of time with Stephen Goddard. I've been looking for a decent sunset for a while. So the sunset's going to become the introduction, and that will all become clear further on down the playlists. So I suggest that's where the original sections of canal lie, buried in there. So been a pretty hot day today, near to the middle of June, summer solstice. Sorry, I'm using myself, I'm doing my hair on myself inside talking. So that's going to be classed as the introduction. And you know what, you can tell you're getting to more rural places because the ducks, geese, wildlife, etc. not quite as frightened of you. And that's the mum there, she's trusting me near the young. Now, nearer the inner city, the ducks are tougher. And that is an actual real thing, I'm not just making that up. Because they're treated friendly here, people probably feed them, probably don't say shoo out the way. You know what I mean? Don't frighten them, don't attack them, don't have dangerous dogs. Just better, so the birds are more civilised because the people are more civilised. So as you get down, they're all hissing at you. You know what I mean? You go to get some out your bag and they're on you. We've got some lovely pieces of history here. Some form of old boat wharf. There's a railway viaduct, so get ready for a big surprise. Might be in the second part to this, if I do a second part to this, but there is actually a viaduct and an aqueduct across the River Goyt. So that's an old warehouse that's been refurbished into modern property. 1828. The bridge is an original stone bridge. Yeah, so we're straight into getting into the realms of the countryside. So the motorway, it was probably the last disturbance, which is, a reminder of the urban side. Look at this stone bridge. It's been strengthened, but made to look authentic. So they've had to use stone and not concrete. So it's modern because it's got a support structure that's concrete, and this is the real bridge here. Which is amazing. Those little fish jumped up. So this original bit in the middle is how thin it originally was, and it's been widened twice. I'm getting to an authentic canal feature here. What an interesting little quirky bridge. Twist it round so we go to the other side. And there's some form of sewer pipe over the top of the canal. It's where things get interesting if you ask me. There's an old wharf or dock. So we're going to head on, try and get to the lock. I'm smelling it that we're near because the train is starting to follow. Tameside Metropolitan Council, separate from, shall we say, Manchester Council, but it's like a bit like Bury. Bury's a separate council, but they're all Greater Manchester. So over on this side, I could see this wharf, and the reason I popped over was to see if I could see any further along, which I can't just yet. So we came from under there, some form of old wharf area for some form of old mill site, I assume. I'm going to explain a bit about freight trains as I walk along here actually, because this is one of the busiest junctions in the whole world for freight, shifting coal, stone, because there's a lot of stuff in the Pennines that they get out and they just go straight along the top of the Pennines really, and you don't see them, they emerge sometimes going through the city centres, and then they'll end up in Liverpool docks and places like that. So there's no information about what's coming up. I'm going to keep that as a surprise. So this looks like a marvellous place to be feeding the ducks, because they're all swimming towards me. So just an important thing I would like to say. So that wharf it's part of the colliery, and then it leads off down an old cobbled lane, which I assume that was the actual colliery. Then it led up here to load the boats. As I say, there's a lot of freight in this area for railways, but originally everything was canals. But in 1889 it was in railways and canals, it's more about the coal mine. If you notice one thing there though, they said it was deemed accidental because the miners had to light candles which caused the explosion. But really that's their personal equipment, personal protective equipment, PPE, which is absolutely necessary in the mines. So it's not their fault a naked flame lit the gas. The gas shouldn't have been in there. So they are liable. But back in the days, basically, the people who run these canals were making so much money. They were like best friends with the judges and the mayors and the politicians and even people in the royal family. They were super rich. They were like the rock stars of the day. You know what I mean? Honestly. So they just come in and go, oh no, I'm not responsible for that. Oh yeah, do you want to shut my pit down? And the council's just like, yeah, okay, the people are dead now. It's an accident really, but it wasn't. In this day and age that'd be corporate manslaughter. I'm sure it would, or they'd be at least tried for corporate manslaughter. Also there's going to be a lot more footage of the most modern form of transport after a lifelong learning about this canal. Tameside Metropolitan The electric scooter. That was my idea of a joke. The aeroplane, obviously.